Now, something you might have noticed in some of my footage of the Docklands Light Railway is that it's kind of wobbly. Now, that's not due to the DTs, despite certain scurrilous rumours, but because the DLR is itself pretty wobbly. In fact, last time I did a video on the DLR, a lot of people in the comments section asked why exactly the DLR is so wobbly. Well, I'll tell you. It all comes down to wheels. Welcome to my loft where I have my model railway stuff. Now, most trains have wheels like these, with flanges that keep the whole thing on the rails. That's good for most railways, but not ones like the DLR. One of the reasons light rail is so popular in urban environments is that it can go around really tight curves. That means it can follow the alignment of streets and it can pick its way around buildings. You don't need to acquire enormous amounts of land to accommodate it, with the accompanying legal headaches. This is why networks like Metrolink and the DLR have been able to expand their networks so quickly, while mainline projects languish. The DLR has taken advantage of this in other ways. It uses a lot of land that was formerly used for heavy rail routes. For instance, at Poplar there used to be a heavy rail station known as Millwall Junction. Because the DLR doesn't need as much space for their junction, there's room for a depot here, as you can see from this rather bad footage. Now, you can't just stick a regular train on a tight curve and call it a day. When a train goes around a curve, its wheels press against the outer edge of the rail. If the curve is too tight, the train can't go around it. It will get stuck, or even derail. It also causes excessive wear on the track and the wheels. TfL actually has facilities for the underground that enable trains that go around the Circle Line to have their wheels swapped around, to even out the wear. But the Circle Line's curves are nothing compared to those on the DLR. Historically, there were various ways of compensating for tight curves. Locomotives designed for use in environments with tight curves were traditionally built with a short wheelbase, like these dock shunters. Another way, one that we still use, is to put trains on what we call bogies, a kind of pivoted mini chassis mounted to the main frame of the rolling stock. Modern articulated trains take things a step further and often share one bogie between two coaches. The DLR does that, for instance. And another way is to play with the shape of the wheels. Light railway trains have wheels that are shaped a little differently from conventional trains. They're more bowl-shaped. When the wheel presses against the rail, the more conical profile gives the train the option of climbing the rails a bit, so there's less pressure. All trains have a bit of a taper on the wheels because all trains need a bit of flexibility, but light rail trains really go to town with it, literally and figuratively. Now, as you've probably worked out, that means that while the train is going around the curve, one side is slightly higher than the other. This is important. The wobbling phenomenon on the DLR, and on railways in general, is something called hunting oscillation. When the train rights itself, gravity pulls the outer wheel in, but then the wheel on the other side is pushed up, and then that is pulled down and the other side is pushed up, and so on until both wheels reach equilibrium and the train is fully stable. The passengers experience this in the form of the train wobbling. It's known as hunting oscillation because the wheels are hunting for equilibrium. While it's uncomfortable, it is perfectly safe. And the trains don't travel all that fast on a light railway. On conventional railways with heavier rolling stock and faster trains, hunting oscillation is something you really need to avoid. It'll throw the train off the track if it's bad enough. So engineers sacrifice the space advantage for wider, gentler curves that the trains can take at speed. They avoid curves wherever possible. And that leads us to the other reason the DLR is so wobbly. The thing about the DLR is that a lot of it is built along routes formerly occupied by conventional railways, particularly in the case of the section from Tower Gateway to Poplar. The stations are positioned approximately where they were on the old railway, and what that means is that trains designed for low speeds and tight curves are having to operate like conventional trains. They're having to go faster than is ideal, and that's why the hunting is so bad. It's not dangerous, but, well, let's just say I wouldn't want to be drinking a large coffee there. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd be grateful if you gave me a like and considered subscribing for more. I would like to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon and here on YouTube for your generous support. You are the equilibrium to my wobbly wheels. And I will see you all again very soon. Cheerio.